your energy is way louder than you may even think. Before you enter the room, people can already sense you. Before you start talking, people can already feel you. Before people actually notice everything about you physically, they can already feel you, they can already hear you, they can already sense you. Your energy speaks louder than anything what can be perceived by our eyes or anything that we can hear. So in today's video, as someone who's been getting recently quite a lot of compliments about their energy, I'm just gonna teach you everything that I've learned so you can just be more magnetic, having the higher energy faster than anyone else. Starting with the first point, check your environment, check the people that surround you. You've probably heard this many times, but it's so true, because your energy might be actually on a high vibrational frequency. Let's say that it's on the frequency of love. However, you're surrounded by people who are on the frequency of fear, meaning that your vibration is gonna be going lower and lower and lower, possibly on the same frequency as they are. And we don't want that. You really don't want to be surrounded by people like this, because it's not gonna get you anywhere and your glow is gonna just be disappearing. And again, we don't want that. You don't want that. So really check your environment, who surrounds you, who are those people, and on what frequency they possibly might be. And if you're wondering what energy, what vibrational state they may have, analyze the way how they're talking, how they're approaching things. If they're just being like, oh, but I don't really know if I want to do this. Oh, it doesn't make sense because it's impossible. Then you just know that they're on a low vibrational frequency. And also, this is just going to show you they don't trust themselves enough to actually become the better, the higher version of yourself, to become someone who is on a high vibrational frequency. Another great indicator would be how they carry themselves, how they take care of themselves. If they're taking care of their mental state, if they're taking care of their body, if they're taking care of their physical self and just taking care of themselves as a whole human being, then you will know that they care about who they are, they care about the way how they carry themselves. Unfortunately, some people are just not in their way, and if you can see that they're not taking care of themselves, drop them, because first of all, they're gonna be applying this very subconsciously onto you too. Secondly, why would you even like to be surrounded by people like this? You want to glow, you want to shine, you want to be magnetic, you just want to be the best version of yourself. And people like this, they're not going to help you in any sort of way. The only way they may help you actually is like to show you that you really don't want to be like this. So just take this as the example, as you really don't want to be seen, as you really don't want to be perceived as someone who you really don't want to be creating that energy and to be applying it on other people. And speaking of that, analyze your habits. What is bringing your energy down? Why are you on a low vibrational frequency? And something I would here personally recommend to you is to analyze the habits of your parents. If you had parents who just don't have the best habits, then very much likely subconsciously you picked it up from them. So for example, if you know that one of your parents is smoking, very much likely you're gonna pick that habit too. Or if you know that one of your parents is drinking alcohol every single day for the breakfast, very much likely you're gonna pick that habit too, because it's something that you've seen since you're a child. And as children, our brain, until we're like 7 or 8, we had a tendency subconsciously picking up a lot of things. Our brain is being formed. This can be also applied to your attachment styles. If for example one of your parents has an anxious attachment style, the second one has the avoidant attachment styles, those two attachment styles, they have a huge tendency to be attracting each other, by the way. So then instead of having the secure attachment style, very much likely you're gonna be avoidant, or you're gonna be having the anxious attachment styles, because again, you grew up with this. If you know that you have some habits as your parents, then ask yourself how you can stop with this, how you can stop with embodying those habits. With what habits you can replace those, because your mind is gonna pick up replacement for the habits way better than if you just stop doing that habit. This is something what worked for me, and I know that it worked for other people too, for my friends, for some of my family members. So if you really want to stop with that habit, I would recommend you to actually replace it with something better. The next point, super important point to mention, is to stop trying to be someone who you're not. Stop bottling your authenticity. If I'm gonna be talking here from my own experience, I used to be trying to fit into the dark feminine energy so badly, into the black cat aesthetic so much, to the point that I started losing my light, I started losing my spark. I'm not saying that being dark feminine or embodying dark feminine energy is bad. I don't think that. There are women who can fit into that aesthetic so perfectly that instead of losing that light, instead of losing that spark, they're actually gaining it, and they're shining and they're glowing in that. Me, personally, I am not the girl. I am not that person. And with the complete honesty and with the complete transparency, I was just trying to be someone who I was not. I was fighting my authentic self. And if you're asking yourself like, oh, but how can I actually know what's my authenticity? How can I know that I'm not trying to be someone who I'm not? How can I see my authentic self? Ask your inner child. Your inner child has the answer that you need to hear. They know the best. Your inner child knows the best. They know what they want. And this can be applied to anything. This can be applied to your physical self, from your clothing style, to your makeup, to your hair care, but also to your dream career. I swear to God that your inner child knows answer for anything. Thing is, your inner child acts based on their heart and not on the thoughts. So instead of trying to figure things out by your current self, really make the time to meet up with your inner child through the meditation, because again, they're just gonna tell you the clear answer. The next point is to create not only your higher self, but also to create your shadow self. You can even create the way how they look like, just to help you to visualize them better. Give them even the names. When I was doing this exercise, I created my shadow self that I've named Dahlia, and then I created my higher version of yourself that I named Celia. I started with the higher version of myself, like the whole analyzation, the visualization, and so on, because for us as human beings, it's way easier to see something what we want generally than who we are currently. So I described everything about her, from what she was doing, what were her main traits, to the way she looked like, to her habits, also the way how she eats, because I'm just someone who had orthorexia and binge eating disorder back in the past. And then to this version, I started creating the shadow version, the girl that's named Dahlia. I started describing everything about her, just the way how I don't really want to be. When I created those two versions, I realized that I'm very much embodying my shadow self. I had some points, some highlights of my higher version of myself, but 80-90% of it was my shadow self. And by analyzing both of those versions, it really helped me to achieve to be the higher version of myself and to be on a higher vibrational frequency, and to even embodying that magnetism that I really wanted to embody. And last but not least, keep your heart open. Having the open heart is just something what is so attractive, so magnetic, because when you look around yourself, around your surroundings, or at school or at the workplace, anywhere, a lot of us has the heart closed because we are just scared. We are scared to be open to the abundance, because most of us grew up in the household where we were taught in the way that, like, oh, you really need to be extremely humble. Oh, you do not deserve this. You do not deserve that. You really need to be working hard for things in order to achieve that. But the thing is, most of us just have like the heart that is closed, and we are close to the abundance that we deserve. Open your heart in order not to be only attractive, not only to be magnetic, but also to attract the things that you deserve. You deserve everything that you wish for, because if it already exists in your mind, that means that you're supposed to have it. And if you have it in your mind, then it means that you can also have it in the real world. You deserve anything in this world, and having the open heart is gonna allow you to get anything that you want to, including the magnetism, the attractive energy. This is all from me for today's video. It was low-key spontaneous. I was not really planning to do this, but I don't know, I just like felt kind of called to do that, so here we go. If you would like to follow me on our social media platforms, you're more than welcome. You can find me on Instagram and on TikTok, and I'm just gladly gonna see you there. Bye.